They, like everybody else, have the marks of hunger, if not outright starvation, with kind of hollow cheeks. But their eyes are bright, and the one who turns to you does so with the kind of a friendly air, mostly just of arguing with the other one. He says, "What about you? Did your uncle quench his forge in piss?"
Oh, well, absolutely. He didn't use his own, though. He had a special goat that he swore was the best quenching urine that you could find. Damn shame when that goat finally croaked, but he made good work with it.
Okay, make a diplomacy check. Well, when last we left our heroes, you were in a safe space? Question mark. So you had awoken in the tower with Ziri, fled imminent destruction there, um, survived uncomfortably and directionless for a little while out in the howling wastes here, and then come across this column of men, men and women, who were marching with some purpose somewhere. And Doolin, through a neat and highly strategic set of actions, made contact with them, and you guys joined their party. And now you guys have been brought with them to a place that they've just kind of referred to as the camp. It's a dull, well, not dull, but a very dreary place. It looks very much like the picture here, and you had been, somewhat surprisingly, you hadn't been kept under guard. I mean, you had been taken as prisoners, in fact, having caused casualties, and especially in Ilya's case, been pretty severely punished for your refusal to comply. But having then completed the journey, once you got here, it's apparently this guy, the man in charge, Aldrin the Grim, seems to believe, presumably with cause, that there's nowhere really to run. And it's just a camp here in the wastelands. So you've largely been given your own freedom within the confines of this place, with his stipulation that you'll be taken somewhere soon. He did, however, when you got there, dismiss the rest of the soldiers, saying they should be ready to move on to a place called Paragon in one day, perhaps two. And while he let everybody else go, he did take Deirdre aside and had a separate kind of an interrogation with her, which is, I suppose, up to her to recap. As I believe at the end of the last session, Shaw and Doolin had found a small, like, hospitality tent, as it's referred to, which is run by this woman Emil, and the one of the soldiers, this well, make any suggestions about his attitude, but this sort of dark-skinned, angular-featured, kind of wiry built guy who was one of the odd, sort of pseudo-spongy leather-wearing soldiers that had captured you guys in the first place, had actually agreed to, like, had sort of shown you the way. His name is Akoka. And yeah, he'd taken you to the hospitality tent by where Emil was is the proprietress, and then the whole group, led by Deirdre, had worked together to set Ilya's broken bones. And he was in rough fucking shape before you guys decided to aggravate those particular wounds, but they weren't going to get any better this way. And he had already collapsed and been carried the last couple of miles anyway by Doolin, so fortunately for him and probably for everybody else involved, he just passed out. Through that process, you could at least get the bones set. And while Deirdre has been very strongly warned against using any of her foul fey magics, unquote, she knows enough about just good old-fashioned healing to at least set a pretty clean break, which these are at the forearm, which is nasty, but in a way that is easy to see where it should be if you know what you're doing, and she does. So, yeah. What's up? Oh, that was fingers crossed. Okay, sorry.
Sorry, it was just literally fingers crossed.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. Fair enough. I do want to highlight a couple of other things too that would be memorable to you guys, and presumably to anyone watching, which is you guys had resisted very nearly to the bitter end when you were taken prisoner, let's say. Shaw had in a moment of extremity, said it sort of proclaimed that you guys had, special knowledge that was damaging to the Archon in this crystal and threatened to shoot it. And that would be known to Aldrin the Grim and everybody else who helped capture you guys. Also, you did kill 2 people and wound a couple of others in your capture, and that would not be forgotten, certainly, by any of the compatriots, any of the dead here who have brought you to this unnamed camp in the middle of the wasteland. Also, for the time being, the crystal in question is with Shaw, I believe. So, as you guys were being captured there, Shaw was threatening the little crystal, L, and Ilya was attacked by one of the soldiers, who was apparently a friend of the one that Ilya had slain. And when Aldrin rebuked that soldier for it, he had said he had requested an absence, I think was how he put it. Aldrin granted that, and the man seemed sort of vacant and moved kind of like an automaton, as in fact some of you guys managed to do in this aura that was put out from the guy. It's not comforting exactly, but it certainly makes traveling across the waste a damn sight easier. That guy, the friend of the fallen one, in his sort of vacant state, had stripped all the equipment off of his fallen friend, and Aldrin had burned the body in a brief ceremony. I think your weapons have been taken, but other than that, no, I would say you have all of your non-combat equipment, just for the sheer fact that nobody else wants to carry it.
Everyone's missing their weapons.
Yes.
Also, quick note, Ilya is at 0 hit points because of the damage that he took from the cutting of the swollen, like, it's called compartment syndrome. Is that what it's called? I don't know. I'm not a...
If only Mackenzie were here.
Yeah.
You're on the floor in the hospitality tent. The tent itself is very large, with a kind of hard-packed dirt floor and a couple of large cushions scattered around, as well as various pieces of furniture. There are a couple of hanging light fixtures from the top that just come from cross poles, and it casts kind of an irregular light over the place. Ilya is unconscious across one of the large pillows that perhaps was once ornate, but it's stained in many places, not least by his blood and various unfortunate bodily fluids from what was probably close to going septic on him. Yeah, it looks something like this. It's mostly open space, very sparse, like I said, furnishings, and then a big kind of double flap entrance over on this side. As you guys sit up from the struggle that it was for a moment to sort of fight Ilya into getting his limbs reset, because he was trying to bear with you, but there's a certain amount of just reflexive thrashing that came from it. But once he had passed out and Deirdre could do the rest of her work, assisted to the best of your guys' ability by the rest of you, sort of a long shared exhale by those of you who were still conscious. What are you doing?
I want to clean up
Okay.
the blood, get it off of Ilya and the area.
Yeah, there's plenty of that to do. Okay.
I feel like I should know what we should do next. I got us into this mess. It's not looking good right now.
I have an extra set of clothes that I'll pull out of my pack, kind of set it down on the floor over in the corner, and pull out a spare shirt and use it to start cleaning up and pass it around to the other folks, blood on their hands and such.
Some soap in my bag.
A couple of moments pass. So you guys, the 3 of you, are standing there quietly, like wiping blood off, and just looking around kind of grimly, taking in your surroundings a little more clearly than you have before. The dwarf woman, pretty thin, some skin stretched across her face, eyes a little drawn and bloodshot, comes in through the big double flap of the doors and crosses over to where some of the light intersects from the 2 fixtures, crosses across a large stretch of shadow in the tent that was obviously made for some kind of grander purpose and has pretty poorly appointed here. Standing a little ways off from you guys, she says, she kind of looks over where Ilya's lying. And she says, has he passed?
No, not yet.
He's made of tough stuff.
This one thinks he might actually pull through. Kind of nod to Deirdre.
Cross my arms.
I can offer you some water.
Water would be very helpful. Yes, ma'am.
She kind of like does a somewhat frowning double take towards Shaw, but then like nods her head and turns him with a busy stride, walks right back out.
That was the
Proprietress,
okay.
Emil, yeah.
Rummage around in my pack a little bit more and pull out a ration. Walk over to Duel in there and unroll it on the bed and go about cracking it roughly in half.
Okay.
Take half for myself and slide the other half over to him.
It's a thick, sort of floury thing about, I guess, about the size of like a full thing of pita, but a little bit thicker and a little heftier of a texture, certainly. But yeah, it's just basically a big piece of hardtack.
No, you paid your ration to get us in here. We were both in that negotiation, so here's my share of the cost. Next time you interrupt negotiation that I'm handling, you're going to pay the entire cost. Especially if you do something stupid like offering our food up first again.
I didn't offer up your food.
We are in this together. Remember,
Just trying to make up for it.
I manage a store back where I'm from. Know how to haggle. Know how to get what we need. Give as little as we can.
Yeah, you're right. I just messed up.
Just slide the half ration his way. Go sit on the ground somewhere and eat.
What are you doing?
Just kind of stare. Not really touch it, just, I don't know. I'll sit on the other side of the bed, but then just kind of stare at the wall.
Okay. Deirdre, what are you doing? Do you have one hit point?
Probably.
Is that true?
Yes, I have 1 hit point, so I'm very tired
Okay.
and in pain.
Just
And so cleaning, doing the setting of the stuff and everything. She's still working. She's still doing the thing, cleaning up, but she's very clearly exhausted and hardly able to stand on her feet.
Okay. Well then, some time passes. Less than an hour later, but long enough to give you the impression that she had to go somewhere to get it. Emil comes back, and she quietly, lips pressed thin, into a line, comes and just brings it's not really a bucket. It's an odd, it's a stone like pail of some kind that's just got like a rope tied across the outside of it. It's more like a rope sling for it. She carries it in. That's adding a lot of weight, to water, which is already heavy, but it's basically a small wash basin's worth of water, which is enough for you to at least dilute the water in the spare shirt that Shaw had passed around and give you a chance to wash yourselves, however imperfectly, but take some of the grime of the road off. It's whatever measure of hospitality in the hospitality tent, besides the tent itself, so far seems to just be, the shelter and then this little bit of water. Ilya,
That was a kindness. Thank you.
he stands back while you guys, clean up, and then carries it away when you're done, saying she'll bring another in some time, and doesn't offer you food or anything like that. But notably, also nobody else comes in. A little more time passes. It's not a tavern you're in. It's not an inn. There's no patrons. It kind of makes you wonder what this woman does the rest of the time. When there aren't prisoners coming through. But as Ilya transitions a little bit from unconsciousness into sleep, if not a particularly restful sleep. What are the rest of you guys doing?
I'll just keep watch.
Yeah, I'll be nibbling on the rest of my half ration, but then I moved from staring at the wall. I'm assuming that Deidre's gonna take that other side of the bed. When she's kind of falling asleep. I'm not sure if that's what she did, but I'll be off the bed to open up that spot. So.
Okay.
Make sure Ilya stays comfortable. See if I can get him to drink some water, I guess, and drink some water and eat a ration myself.
Sure.
I would like to go over and speak with Emil, if she's still around, if she's not doing other stuff.
Okay. You saw her retreat back out the kind of double flap of the main entrance here to the tent. But
Okay.
got an invader
I'll
here.
probably go to sleep pretty quick then.
Okay.
Kitty, kitty.
Okay. Yeah. So Doolin gets up, pacing around. Deirdre lays down. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a chair or something, but I'll set up a chair around here.
Yeah.
If not,
there's one over here.
I'll just.
If you see it, it's actually a big old wicker chair.
Yeah, I don't know if I can take that, but I'll take that and move it closer to the bed.
Okay. I'll do that. Hey, you can't be here. They'll eat you. They're hungry. So, all right. Deirdre falls asleep. Shaw and Doolin are both keeping different types of quiet and reproachful / regretful watches, and hours pass. Emil does come back in eventually with another little basin. She leaves it on the ground and heads back out the way she came. Shaw and Doolin, you both hear the sounds of activity outside. A couple of times, some raised voices. Doesn't sound like a fight exactly, but something kind of raucous and lively happens outside. Doesn't really end in laughter or screams of pain, so it's hard to place it exactly, but just reminds you there are people that apparently live here full time. And other than that, it's a lot of wind flapping the canvas of the tent, and a lot of just howling weather and sounds of dust moving around outside. Enough time passes, in fact, that you guys can consider yourselves to have rested. And if Doolin and Shaw, are you guys just going to stay awake until you can't anymore? Or when you start to feel yourselves getting really pretty sleepy, are you going to make an arrangement?
Make an arrangement.
Okay. Who's first and who's second?
You sleep first.
I'll go to sleep first.
Okay. Then you both get a chance to get some rest. And there's basically nothing to do, time passes, everybody can take a full rest worth of hit points and ability damage. Recovery.
How much was it? Sorry. Is it one per?
I don't really know. I'm going to look right here.
Gain hit points equal to your constitution modifier, minimum of 1, multiplied by your level. Lose fatigue, doomed and drain, go down by 1, reset your spells.
My constitution modifier is a -3. So
That's mine.
Minimum 1.
so I get 2 hit points back. technically conscious.
Okay. Probably wishes he wasn't.
I don't know how good of a job did Deirdre do.
Did a pretty good job.
Then yeah,
But there was a lot of damage done, a lot of swelling. You got some pretty gnarly cuts to deal with, as well as just the injuries you guys all sustained in the fight. But
neat. Oh,
yeah.
Just caught the knee on the corner of the desk.
Howie.
I mean, I shouldn't complain.
You're role playing, getting a character.
Yeah, role playing.
Hit yourself again.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Cool. So, all right. I mean, time passes. Are you guys doing anything in particular in that time? I mean, it's enough to, rest and wait if that's what you guys want to do.
About what time of day?
Yeah. So, so Shaw took second rest here. So when Shaw wakes up and goes out to look around, it's dark of night here.
Okay.
Ilya is sleeping as much as you guys let him. Like, just after that walk with those arms, yeah, as much as you guys let him, he's gonna kind of be on bed rest.
I'll come back inside and talk to Deirdre and Doolin.
Okay.
I admit I'm getting a little antsy. All cooped up in here. Especially when there's stuff we pretty clearly need. Y'all opposed to me taking a look around, going for a walk?
Oh, that's fine by me. I just know that Ilya here needs a rest, so
I can go with you. Maybe we should stay in pairs.
y'all two go and I'll stay with Ilya.
Alright. We won't be too long.
Is there a certain amount of time that I should be worried?
Don't come looking for us. If we don't come back,
Alright.
it's because we're not coming back.
We're coming back.
Grab my pack, gather whatever I have left, and stride out the door.
Okay. So you guys step out, and it's jarring. Just going from that kind of odd mental state of just like comparative quiet, consistency, past boredom, out the other side to just sort of like rest and dull awareness, to just open the tent flaps and dust, darkness, wind, and only some lights visible around you. There's not really a cacophony, it's not a town square or anything like that, but there is activity. There are a lot of other shrouded figures, even still, it must be in the dead of night here, moving around, mostly covered in these big, thick, it looks like some kind of leather, but it moves differently. Like maybe it's not like properly tanned. It's also really thick, like thicker than any leather has a right to be. It's like a solid, big spongy thing. Unless it's, poorly tanned elephant hide or something like that. Can't imagine what creature it would have come from, but it seems like a hardy material. The most of these guys have these shapeless, semi-rigid cloaks made out of that must, block a lot of the dust or wind, but it just reduces almost everybody to very similar, shapeless, shuffling forms. And you do see these little globes around. It looks like about as many of them are magic light as are burning any actual kind of fuel. And just fun walking around in the narrow and poorly cared for streets of this camp, you get the sense that, it's been here for a while, but not a century, There are gutters that have been dug, but there are as many just kind of like irregular channels where when it rains, the water must kind of find its way. And then there are big patches of mud and just poorly kept area where you can sink up to your ankle into just a highly trodden area that's never really allowed to set up. But at the same time, the tents that are there seem like they were built with some purpose out of some reasonable materials. Much like the hospitality tent, space does not seem to be an issue, even though you're crowded in a semi-mountainous area here. There is a lot of open space, a lot of people standing at open tent flaps, some even just kind of looking around, watching passersby. Many people moving on their way with at least small bundles of goods, indicating some kind of commerce. But not a lot of conversation out in the, let's call them streets between the tents. Probably out of utility as much as anything, just since it's so windy and so hard to hear, you'd have to shout to somebody out here. You guys looking for anything in particular? Or do you have a strategy? Or are you just going to kind of wander around and try to get the lay of the land?
Definitely want to look for a couple of things in particular. As a trained blacksmith, any place that is doing metalwork or any kind of hard crafting like that is a place I might be valuable or be able to engage with, so I'd like to keep an eye out for that. And then any kind of healing tent or herbal supplies or something that Deirdre might be able to get something useful out of.
Yeah, I need some healers tools through. And then I want to keep an eye out for any of those halfling signs that I saw before and see if I actually see any of them. If my impression is correct, I think the vibe of them was a little bit subtle. Like they didn't necessarily want to like advertise that they were there, but there were some clear indicators.
Sure. Okay. So I've got, and sorry, I was typing at the same time, but I've got a blacksmith or some kind of craftsman where Shaw could be helpful. A healer or herbalist or some type of person that Deirdre might be able to work with. Keeping an eye out for halflings and what else? Or was there anything else?
That's good.
That's it.
All right, yeah. Well, so as you guys walk around, go ahead and make perception checks. Notable things as you guys walk around the camp. So there is a metalsmith. It's a pretty small, pretty patch operation. The kind of thing you could fit on the back of a wagon. And looks, I mean, it's easy to locate just because of the sounds of the work. They're still going on despite the fact that it's some time of night. But that, doesn't have to mean anything. When you guys come that way, along that, again, I hesitate to use the term street, but, along that part of the camp, you can see a couple of people standing around. It's hard to say much about them other than their very general stature, just because they're all wearing very similar, those bulky, rigid cloaks. But there's a small crowd that Shaw would recognize from being common. Not that he has any distinct memories of it, but there's usually people hanging around a forge. People waiting on specific tasks or repairs or orders, or some folks who come to gawk or comment or something like that. It's a kind of a public trade just because of the ventilation requirements. So there's a piece of you that kind of responds to that, and some nostalgic's the wrong word, but something in you kind of glimmers in that's familiar, that people would be, particularly older men, it seems to you somehow, that looks at something in the back of your mind, would stand around a forge, and just talk. But there is a figure there. There's a kind of what's the word? Harried looking, dark-haired woman with a rough, kind of pockmarked face, and really just wiry, strident sort of muscles in her arms. And she's got a small hammer, the head of which is, maybe about that big. And she's just banging away, clearly making small adjustments to some piece of metal. And it's not clear at all what she's burning. As you guys, come by, there's a kind of a very strong, acrid smell that Makes your eyes water a little bit. It's not, like a wood or charcoal forge in any way that your memory would respond to viscerally. But, seems to be getting done, as you can see sparks flying every time she swings what the term finishing hammer comes to mind for Shaw, even if he couldn't say who taught him that. And but yeah, so you come by that, and around the same time, you can see what's pretty obviously a depot. There's an area set aside just a little bit away from the forge that's a cleared area but staked out with some ropes. It's hard to say, what could be coming in here, but obviously supplies have to come from somewhere, and there's not a farm around here. So there are a couple of, it looks like, crates and barrels that are nearby, as well as a couple of guards that are standing in the generally rectangular area. Also, notably, only 3 sides are roped in, just like poles that have been stuck in the ground, maybe 4.5 feet up. There's just a very loose rope that's straight between them, and one side open, and that side points north. So that gives you a sense of this maybe being a commercial district of some kind. Just between those two things. You guys look around for a second. What are you doing?
I'll, elbow Deirdre and nod at the forge. Kind of stare at it for a little bit, and then I'll saddle up. Just walk over to the little line of onlookers and kind of step in, put my hands on my belt, and just hang out.
Okay.
Listen for a little bit, say hi if anyone introduces themselves, find a chance to speak up and comment on what she's doing once I've watched for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanna watch the people. I want to do the halfling thing that they do. Or I don't really want to like be noticed as much. I want to just like observe.
Okay.
And stay close to Shaw. I guess halflings have keen eyes. Your eyes are sharp, allowing you to make out small details about concealed or even invisible creatures that others might miss. Invisible. Okay.
Shaw, you just kind of sidle up, lean against the tent pole nearby, and that's the conversation from the small group of onlookers is sporadic. They don't seem to be carrying on any very great animated discussion, but it doesn't take too long before you a conversation gets going between it looks like 2 men, probably older, and they one of them's looking at the woman while she works, and just Barrett is the stench. It's the stench for me. And the other one says, it's not the stench, huh? Stench is always it's a part of the work. It's because of its effect on the finer metals. It pocks them and pits them. It doesn't pock them or pit them. It's only if they are not quenched in the proper way. My uncle, he used to use urine. Everyone says that their uncle used to use urine to quench their forge. He says, no, but it's because of the... Have you? And one of the guys just turns to Shaw, who's kind of on his other side. They both seem, like men who are old for the time, not old maybe in ours, but mid-late 50s, something like that. They each have really scruffy and kind of patchy growths of beard that just look unkempt for, many months at a time. They, like everybody else, have the marks of hunger, if not outright starvation, with kind of hollow cheeks. But their eyes are bright, and the one who turns to you does so with the kind of a friendly air, mostly just of arguing with the other one. He says, what about you? Did your uncle quench his forge in piss?
Oh, well, absolutely. He didn't use his own, though. He had a special goat that he swore was the best quenching urine that you could find. Damn shame when that goat finally croaked, but he made good work with it.
Okay. Make a diplomacy check. Take a +2. They both chuckle a little bit And the one who had asked you, the one in the middle, God, he chuckles and he shakes his head. Uh, everyone's uncle, but not you. And the other one on the far side of that guy, he chuckles as well, but he kind of frowns at the ground. And as his compatriot asks you the question, he's frowning at the ground. He says, "What's a goat?"
No, not me. I prefer water. I'll keep it simple. And yeah, the stench. A little bit of that.
"You're a smith, then," says the man in the middle.
Well, I was, but I ain't got a forge, so I ain't much of a smith, but I swung a hammer quite a few years back where I'm from.
"And where is that?"
Well, couldn't really tell you where I'm at, so it's tough to describe.
He talks like he's from Hurlin. You talk like you're from Hurlin.
Well, let's go with that then. Aldrin found me out in the waste with a couple of my friends and brought us back, so I'm still trying to get my bearings right.
You are in the West and you don't know how you got there.
That's right.
And the other one looks at the ground and clears his throat. Water protect us from the Archon. His friend kind of like nudges him a little bit strongly. Sorry for you and your friends.
My
And
thanks.
He kind of turns away. Yeah. Deirdre, I mean, you're listening to this and you're watching, but also being a halfling, you know, like you're like listening and paying attention, but it's hard for your eyes not to wander. And you know, you're hearing what these guys are saying, but then before too long, you're kind of like pacing a couple of steps to one side, and then you're like pacing back behind Shaw, back out into the street. You just spin around once, and you're looking and just listening at the same time.
Well, listen, fellas. One of my friends got hurt along the way. Is there a infirmary or a healer or somebody nearby we could talk to get some supplies?
Sorry, friend, you will have to pay.
All right. Check my bags if I got any. I ain't got any coins or nothing, but you know, need a bar of soap.
Do I? The man in the middle turns and he looks at you. He'd kind of like turned away a little bit awkwardly, you know, a little bit ago. But when you offer him that, he turns and regards you full on again. And he says, "Do I? No. But you were found in the waste, and you have supplies? I did not mean you had to pay me. I meant that you would have to pay for a healer. I assumed you had nothing, that you came from nowhere."
Yeah.
He looks you up and down, like a little bit more thoroughly. "What is your story?" And then his compatriot on the other side nudges his arm like old men do. He says, "He's just told you he doesn't have a story. He has a bar of soap. So he has some story."
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I knew I recognized what's happening here. I know I've got a hammer on my belt here, and I know how to use it, but couldn't tell you where or why.
The guy kind of squints at you, not sure what to do. He's pausing. Deirdre, yeah, go ahead and make another perception check. Okay, cool.
Can you at least point me in the right direction then?
The guy in the middle who you'd been talking to, he just stares at you for a couple long moments with like narrowed eyes, and then he says, "It is dangerous. Dangerous to have secrets here in the camp." "Well, I could point you in the right direction," says the woman, the dark-haired woman with the pockmarked face. She says, "I know what that is." And she points with her hammer towards your hammer that you just indicated. You really know how to use that?
Yes, ma'am.
Come on then. And she's got the tongs in one hand. She was holding what looks like some kind of a like a harness piece. It's sort of like an S-shaped, just flat piece of metal. It's nothing ornate, no swirls on there, but looks like just used to connect a couple of pieces of like a wagon harness or something like that. And she's got it somewhat bent, but she's got a piece of it wrapped around the round end of small anvil, and it looks like she's bending it the rest of the way. And so she steps back. She's still holding it with the tongs because the end is glowing still faintly. And she's, go on. And she kind of shifts her hands so that you can take the tongs if you want to.
Okay. Yeah. I'll step up.
Okay. It's, I mean, without going into the play-by-play, she kind of tells you what she's trying to do and what she's trying to make. She's 70% of the way there, but there's some finishing work to do, which is the fine work, and it's not harder or easier. It's just a different skill set, than the big shaping. So go ahead and make a craft check.
Cool. Crafting. Great. Alright, dice. +4. Treat me right.
If I get a chance to let Shaw know that I'm going to be close by, or like, if I get a chance to pull on his,
Mhm.
I won't go far.
Alright, I'll be here.
I know.
What's your lore bonus?
+4.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a +2 flat for having that. If you can beat a 15, make it a +4.
Okay.
On just the lore check.
Cool.
See what comes back to you in the time. There you go. Alright, so go ahead and make your craft check +4.
Love it. Oh, you shitty dice.
Well, still, that helps. So you go over there and take the tongs from her. There's a sort of awkward transfer, but then she steps aside. Notably, she has a big glove on her hand, to stop like sparks and little metal shards. But it's on a small piece of metal, you might be okay. So take a little risk, and you just start to try to do what she told you to do. You don't feel super great about about the work you do. You're out of practice. You got a chance to rest here, but your hands are still cold. Are you wounded at all?
A little bit.
Okay. Well, so we'll say you're in a little bit of pain, and certainly out of practice and disoriented since the last time you tried to do this. And of course, since you can't remember the last time you tried to do this, the best you can do for yourself is just to kind of clear your head and at least step into, as you're working pretty imperfectly and pretty unsatisfied with the way this thing's turning out, you can at least pause, turn, and arrange the next steps in front of you, and set the next buckets up so that you know where to go from there, and do some things you remember are good habits, even if you can't be super proud of the work that's in front of you. And you notice this woman noticing all of that, and you only barely have the time and attention to acknowledge Deirdre as she kind of comes up and tugs at the back of your tunic.
Yeah. I got it. No problem. I'll be here.
Yeah. She just says, "I won't go far," and then she's off. So all right. So you work for a little while, and you don't feel like that's something that you would have really been proud of as an output. You at least do enough stuff and demonstrate enough knowledge that you can see this woman takes you a little bit more seriously. As you get to basically, you try to rebend it once, and then that past that, you're just going to put more damage into this thing, trying to do it over and over, as opposed to starting over. You kind of surrender what you've done to the best of your ability. And the woman, as well as the onlookers, she says, "Well, it's not great." And there's sort of a chorus of "Oh yeah," and it's kind of just a susurrus of grumbling old men from behind you. She says, "But it's not useless. And this is even less useless. How long are you here?
Day or two. Till Aldrin tells us we're moving on.
You may as well just piss in the bucket then.
Well, that's what you're after. These guys say it works.
There's a chorus of small chuckles. Jesus. All right. And she, takes the piece of work out of your hands with a different set of tongs, and then just kind of steers you informally away just from the onlookers there. She's, right, mate, what are you after exactly?
We need a healer. Friend's hurt pretty bad. I'll work for you as long as we're here. That's not long.
I don't know what healing you think you're going to do in a day, mate. Not of any type that's allowed. If you can get the Grim, that's one thing. But if he hadn't healed you already on the way in, he means for you or your mate to be hurt, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
So, there's not a lot of harnesses you could make, or knives you could bend straight or put an edge on, that would make me cross Aldrin the Green. You understand that?
He told us we could tend to him. And the little one that's with me knows a thing or two. She just doesn't have the right supplies.
What little one?
I had a diminutive friend that came with me. She found it off somewhere. She does that.
Alright.
I don't know what she's after. She needs tools or herbs or something, but
Yeah, I can't speak for any of that. But if you're willing to work tonight, because I'm almost finished here, but work tonight, work tomorrow, or until you're taken, and I'll speak to someone on your behalf. I'll do that much.
it's a deal.
You hold your hand out, and she, has the glove on her left hand, but not her right, and then she shakes your hand, and she says, Audra.
Sure. Pleasure. I already slept, so I'm good to head on.
Right then. So, you go away from the blacksmith's area and over to where the looks like some kind of herbalist area. And as I mentioned in the comments, I mean, these are not things that you would find. Like, these are just a couple of plants that, again, you can't remember learning these things. But yeah, like yarrow, no, that grows in like sunlight with rain and normal soil conditions. That's not something that would grow out here. So right away, it opens a couple of questions in your mind. But yeah, it seems reasonably well stocked. And then, of course, the arrangement of those is definitely something that those jars that stands out to you. So, you make your way over. It's a tent, just like many of the others, if perhaps a little bit smaller. There's a very small little front area with like a couple of shelves, and then with just like a little canopy extension on 2 poles. And then there is another like flap that presumably goes back into a tent area that you can't see very well. So, as you come up, there's a woman who at first you mistook for a human, and then you realize she must be kind of standing on a platform behind the shelves. She's a little bit smaller than a lot of the figures that come and go, but she's a gnomish woman with kind of frizzy gray hair and round face and very bright blue eyes. And she's just kind of like idling back and forth, just looking very openly, inspecting the faces of people that come by. You seem to escape her notice as you come up sort of at a level with her shelves.
Hello? Hi.
She stops and looks around and looks down. Oh, my. Well, hello. Oh, what a pleasure to see a small person like myself. Oh, it's The joys of the world are endless. Welcome. Welcome.
Is this your tent?
It is. It is. It's not my name, but I'm called Whisper. Whisper Willows. And she makes this sort of flowing gesture with her hand as she says that.
Beautiful. Whisper Willows. I am Deirdre.
Hello, Deirdre. Oh, you look so poorly used by the wilderness. I'm so sorry. I wish there was something that could be done. Oh, where did you come from? How did you find your way to the camp?
Here I will say the druidic word for 5.
Okay. And she goes still for a moment. And she says, "Oh.
We have been brought into the camp.
She says, yes? By whom?
Aldrin.
Oh. Dreadfully short-sighted fellow. But... Well... He's awfully clear.
Mm-hmm. I understand if you can't help me. I
don't know what exactly you've come here for, except when she says 4, she uses the druidic word for the number 4.
My companion was severely injured, and I lack supplies. I had to set both of his forearms. She shudders.
Oh, that must have been terrible. And something far beyond the reach of herbal medicine. And how many companions did you have?
There are 4 of us.
I see. And you're to be taken on to... Well, we all go where the winds take us. She stares at you with kind of an uncomfortable, bright-eyed stare.
Maybe I shouldn't have come here. She's like... all that Deirdre can think about is not wanting to be set on fire.
Sure. I think that's reasonable. Yeah.
It's probably exactly what's on her mind, too. How long have you been with the camp?
Oh, who keeps track of time? It's such a meaningless concept. It would take so long, for our world to recover. I can't imagine that the span of anyone's lifetime, or even, 2 or... And then she says the druidic word for 3. Or 4 or 5 lifetimes. It's hard to say how many have passed since the cataclysm. And she looks at you kind of sharply.
The druidic word for 2, many.
Okay. And she smiles and quickly represses it. Well, you'll have to come this way then, please. Come on. And she jumps down from her little platform behind her shelves and pulls a cord which lets the canvas down in front of the shelves, effectively closing her little shop here, and then grabs you kind of unceremoniously by the wrist and doesn't force you, but pulls you along.
I go.
Back into the tent. Okay. So she goes back into, past the shelves and pulls you along with her. It's pitch dark for you at first, just because the tent flap came down, and your eyes will, kind of adjust. But it was pretty dark before that, and it's very dark all of a sudden. But very quickly as she goes back there, a couple of very soft, steady, magical lights spring to life with kind of an amber glow, and it illuminates just what looks like an entire living space in just one little tent room. It helps that everything is on a scale that matches you a little more appropriately than, say, what's at the hospitality tent. But there's just a very small set of shelves, a trunk, a little cot that just stands a couple inches off the ground with, actually, it looks like that same kind of like thick, spongy, leathery material stretched across it that people use for clothing around here. And as well as, looks like a pretty wide variety of just knickknacks and odds and ends, lots of jars, many powders, several what looks like drying herbs, which makes you, of course, wonder where the hell do you get fresh herbs in a place like this for them to need to dry, hanging upside down. There's a very strong, pungent, and to you, entirely comforting smell of fresh and drying herbs back here, which is pretty much immediately lost when you step outside in the, blowing wind and dust and all that stuff. But yeah, it's suddenly, just in the space of a couple of steps, it smells like earth and life and possibility. The whole thing's cast in kind of an amber glow. So she turns to you, and in Druidic, she says, "Well, we must be careful, mustn't we?"
Yes, we must.
I expect you'll be wanting to leave this place then, as quickly as possible. Have you made contact with anyone else?
My friend is at the blacksmith right now.
Why ever would you go to a blacksmith?
My friend. He's trained in it.
The working of iron. And her hand kind of strays like just to her throat, like it's an unpleasant thought. Why ever would? Well, best.
Humans, they do these things.
But best to leave him here then, perhaps. But shall we just arrange for your own departure then? Perhaps that's best.
I see what you mean. But we have something bigger than just us. We have to stay together. I have no memory, almost, of who I am or what I am. I saw this, I saw you, and I knew.
Well, Deirdre, the state of our world requires that we all make sacrifices, and of course it's difficult, but you, I'm sure, remember some things, after all. You remember enough to speak to me in the proper way, and I just needed a few more words from you to make sure that it wasn't a fluke or something that perhaps someone had taught you to say. But now, of course, I'm sure things will come back to you in time. And, there are still powerful beings, majestic and wise. They could restore your memory, if that's something you wanted, but what is memory, really? What use is it? Who wrote what thing down on what date? Enough that you remember the names of living things. Enough that you remember our language. Surely, you will be more good to the world than this man hammering iron into foolish shapes. Come then. Let me take you to safety, child.
The Archon, he is this breaker of the way things were. We have something critical in the struggle against him. It. Whatever this force is.
You, but, child, surely you don't know what you're saying. That no one person holds anything critical in the struggle against the Archon. It is the work of generations, and it shall be.
Do you have any healing supplies that I could, I don't know, trade something for or work off?
Well,
You're right. It's beyond the realms of the power of herbs and manual healing. They're gonna take us to this place.
all right. Well, of course your friends are important to you. And she hesitates. You need to make a diplomacy check. And I'm just gonna signpost this so I'm not tempted to change the result. You can have a +4 from your interactions with her thus far. And then all of your normal diplomacy bonuses. Okay? The threshold for basic success is 14. There's another threshold at 20. For what broad strokes might happen here. But so 0 to 14, 14 to 20, and 20 plus are important ranges. And I cannot change that since I said it out loud and we're being recorded. So
Okay.
go ahead and make a diplomacy check. Oh, and the game changes. Oh my. Excellent. All right. This is why really you can only plan so much, you know? She is hesitating. And she says, of course. And then she kind of deflates a little bit. She says, oh, my sister. I'm so sorry for calling you child. We're all apprentices. In this time. What can it mean to be a druid who has lived in a time where grass doesn't grow on the ground? Not on our side of the mirror, anyway. Let us be candid with one another. This is a dark place. And there are those amongst the councils that I visit and who provide all of this wonder to me. And she looks around her little drying shop here. Says, who believe that it's time that this small pestilence be removed. And she gestures around vaguely to include the tent, or the camp itself, or everybody in it. It's hard to say. She says, I will admit that I have been uncertain as to what part I might play in that. I'm not a warrior. You understand? I'm not a huntress. I'm afraid I'm not very fearsome at all. Perhaps you could do a service for everything here, and in the end, everyone. I have some healing ointments, and I am happy to provide them. They are a gift. If you could tell me a bit about the nature of your friend's malady, we'll find the right ones. But we are not merchants. We do not trade this value for that favor. I will not ask to measure the weight of what I give you in gold. What would I do with gold? But I will give you these gifts freely. And I will ask, also, that you take a small sign with you when you go. It was... And she taps her fingertips nervously together, and she says, it was that man, the Grim, who took you in the wasteland, and who will be conveying you hence. I expect that while you are on the road, there will be a time when he shows weakness, when he shows his belly. If you use then a small token that I will give you now, then our mutual friends, and believe me, Deirdre, they are our mutual friends, you and I. Come and take the fangs out of this particular snake. But we need not negotiate. As I said, we are not peddlers weighing our services in silver. Tell me about the nature of your friend's malady, for we may do good before harsher methods are needed.
When we first came across the Grim, when he first found us, my friend tried to go for his life, and as punishment, he had both of his arms broken, and in the forced march here, he sustained further damage to his body, and I fear his consciousness for now.
I see. Well, with time and with care, things like broken bones are easily mended.
I fed them. He's been sleeping since.
Good. Good. Well, then our work is half accomplished. I will make a cream then. Please, if you would assist. And she starts to busy herself with making something. Alright. Cool. So, just to...
I have herbalism lore, so I can do that.
Okay. So she's going to take over here. You don't even have to prove anything to her more than you already have. You have very much won her over. Obviously, at least in this particular task. Putting aside, of course, that I understand maybe you didn't win her over exactly the way that you maybe meant to, but she... so she will send you with with two things that I would suggest writing down. One is a balm for specifically for broken bones, and into it she has infused some magic. I would say go ahead and make a what lore skills do you have?
I have herbalism,
Yeah,
and then
we'll go
I
ahead
have
and,
medicine.
yeah, go ahead and make an herbalism or lore herbalism check just to kind of like track what she's doing. And I mean, you know enough, I think, to assist her, but you might even learn something else if you can make a check. Okay. Well, all right. She gets a little fast-fingered with what she's doing, and notably does work some magic into it. You're aware of it, and you see her doing it. And of course, it immediately makes you wonder about the injunction you were given about staying away from that under some pretty stiff penalty. But she does it, I mean, with consciousness and deliberation, and casts a spell with which you're not immediately familiar, being a degree of complexity beyond anything that you're actually capable of yourself. So opens another couple of questions for you there, but yes, eventually she leaves with you a kind of a rough, kind of gritty, like dark brown balm of some kind. Just enough of it to what's the name of that? I'm thinking of the little chapstick stuff that people scrape out and put on. I don't know what it's called, but basically like a container just about that big, maybe. And it's it's not much, but it is infused with magic. You're clear on that, and you have at least a working knowledge of the herbs that went into it. It's an interesting balance and infusion between actual, herbal healing and then some magical element to dramatically enhance the healing properties that would be present in the concoction itself. So she leaves you with that, and very importantly, she insists to you that this acorn. And she gives you a small acorn, saying that, again, when you see the time is right, and we see that the Grim is weak or vulnerable, and it's time to defang this snake, as she put it, all you need to do is crack the acorn.
You not fear working magic here, sister? I was threatened with being burned alive if I do.
Oh, Aldrin the Grim keeps his promises, as well as everyone says here, everyone who expects to keep talking. But we of the woods, we have our ways, and we have had secrets since long before anyone thought of Aldrin the Grim. We also have our disguises, and they are limited, but for an important cause. And she pats your hand. She says, I am very, very happy to use some of the gifts that I have been given. But it's a special occasion. It's not for every day. I trust I need not say. And she, whispers in Druidic, says, that I wish you every fortune, and for that of your friends. But for what you've just mentioned, please do not speak of our meeting to anyone. And maybe we will meet as sisters in a brighter, greener place.
May it be so.
Okay, Deirdre. Okay. Well, the best of luck to you and your friends. And perhaps you should go out the back here, just to minimize observation. Okay.
Of course. Thank you so much.
All right. And she hustles you out the back of the tent with a pat on the shoulder. So it's been a good 10, 12 hours since you guys got to the camp here. So at this point, yes, you've had a chance to pass out. You've had a chance to have some fitful sleep, to sort of grindingly rise out of that a little bit at a time, and then sort of fall back into it, and have your get your 2 hit points to rub together. And
Second edition calls it long-term rest, by the way.
Long-term rest. There you go. All right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish here.
When I was a Pathfinder player, we didn't have long-term rests.
Yeah.
Hadn't been invented yet. So, but yes. So, you are conscious, if in a great deal of pain. So,
All right.
yeah. So those 2 have taken off, and a period of time passes. More than 5 minutes, less than 100. It's pretty difficult to mark the passage of time here in this dim tent with its flickering lamps hanging from the ceiling and a couple of steady magical lights that don't flicker or change at all. You guys doing anything in particular?
Actually, no, because I don't want to break the long-term rest. I mean,
Is there anything I can do to assist with that?
With his rest?
To provide long-term rest while I'm there, as
I'm-
an action, or I don't know if I can assist that, right, or if I'm the one that has to do it.
So, I don't know, Ilya, are you big spoon or little spoon usually?
with Doolin, definitely little spoon. With most other people, big spoon. So,
No, I'm kidding. So, good chance for me to learn something. I know the rules for Pathfinder First Edition. There is like a lower CR heal check that you can make to just kind of tend to somebody and help them out and change dressings on stuff.
So yeah, long-term rest has to occur in a 24-hour period. If if 24 hours doesn't go by, then yeah, there's some other things that
So the only application of the medicine skill here that would kind of apply to that, it looks like, is to treat wounds. Like that's different than first aid, which is just to stabilize somebody. And for treat wounds, you do need like healer's tools, which I believe Ginger has, but I don't think you do. So, yeah, I guess long answer. It's not a heck of a lot to do, here. Just at least for a couple hours since Ilya has been tended to.
I have rope.
But
Okay.
that some of that's in use, I
That didn't
believe,
work.
right now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because of the splints that
that's true.
you guys
Yeah.
have made around my forearms.
Yeah.
Can I, without breaking the rest status, can I look around and see if there's anything I could use to make like a rudimentary shiv or anything I could use to form a weapon out of? I mean, is there obsidian in the ground? Is whatever?
Sure. I'd say I know it's just looking around, but go ahead and make a craft check for that.
A craft check.
Okay. Yeah, I mean the ground in here is actually like hardpack, and the way that it's pretty tough to do out there in the wasteland. It actually looks like, I mean, on inspection, it seems like it's been at least reasonably well cleared from any large or sharp rocks. I mean, there's pebbles and stuff on the ground. I'm sure if you were to dig around a little in the dirt, but nothing obvious. The only thing, I mean, that occurs to you, there's the tent poles, of course, in extremity, but those would require more work probably to get down and turn into a weapon than would be helpful to you. And then, I mean, yeah, like maybe the lamps, but again, you'd have to really work something out of that and get pretty creative with like tying them to a rope or something like that. There's nothing obvious.
Sure. I'll assume that I'm relatively safe at this point and kind of, try to ignore the pain while I rest.
Okay. Dylan, you moved over to the other cushion there. You do anything in particular?
No, not necessarily. I guess I'll kind of move over because it's been a while, since I left.
Yeah.
Ilya, what are you looking for?
I'm trying to see if we could make a knife or weapon or club or anything out of anything. I'm not feeling very safe.
I need to keep resting. Besides, what you do, attach it to your leg?
I was thinking more for you than for me, but if it comes to that,
I fear we might be outnumbered here. And I'd rather not do anything to give them reason to extend their punishment further.
Ilya's like out before you finish your
Okay.
your sentence. Like,
Yeah, I'll go over and like make sure he's positioned correctly if he was up or looking around, and then I'll go grab the wicker chair and just kind of go sit in the wicker chair and just look at the tent opening.
Gotcha. All right. Well, some more time passes. Tough to tell how much. And then the tent flap, the main one, opens, and that woman, Emil, the dwarven woman, comes through, and she's followed right behind her shoulder by a pretty tall. Honestly, the word that occurs to you upon first seeing him is gentlemanly-looking fellow. He's he's like a couple of feet taller than her, which I suppose doesn't mean much. He has flowing, like, blonde hair, which is drawn back, just very loosely. It seems to be like holding its shape. It's not long enough to be in a ponytail or anything, but it's just like flowing back from his forehead. He has an angular, kind of athletic build, and he walks just sort of like a little bit leaned back in the way that gives you the impression, despite him being fully clothed, that he must have like 8-pack abs. although he's unarmed, and he's wearing what looks like, pretty thick, rough spun pants that look well insulated, and he's already cast off the big, sort of shapeless, odd, spongy leather cloak that seems like everybody wears just for protection against the elements. And he's just got like a pretty loose but bright white and actually very clean shirt and a red coat past that. And he is, like I said, right behind Emil. And as you guys, or as the two of them step into the room, he looks around, looks at the unconscious, or well, the sleeping form of Ilya, and then meets Doolin's gaze, and he smiles graciously. The Emil, she walks in and kind of rubs her hands together, looking between you guys, and she says, excuse me. And then Ilya, being asleep, she addresses herself to Doolin and says, "This is Gatiramos. Please, excuse me." And he lowers his voice, glancing at Ilya, and he walks toward Doolin with his hand extended, and he says, "My friends call me Gati."
I'll go ahead and stand up and then extend my hand forward. Well met, Gotti. My name is Doolin.
Doolin. And he shakes your hand, firmly. His hands are large and warm. He pauses, looking you in the eye for a moment. I can see that your arrival here was fraught.
You'd be correct in that.
I am not a member of the service of Aldrin the Grim. I am also a servant of Paragon, and I do not mean you ill. I have come here to offer any way that I could be of service. I understand that you have already arranged for your own hospitality, which speaks to a degree of independence, which I admire. I can see, however, that your friend is sorely wounded. Have you been given enough water? Is it possible that you need cloaks? Perhaps to travel the wilderness after this?
More water and more clothing, well, it couldn't hurt. But right now, we're not in a position to travel. My friend over here, Ilya, he's in bad shape.
I can see that. Is it... He looks over and then he looks back at you and says, he's...
And then, yeah, shake my head. Or sorry, nod.
Yeah, all right. And how did this happen to you?
Well, how close are you with Aldrin the Great? Is he the leader of Paragon?
Well, he is not the leader of Paragon. No, not at all. He is a humble servant, very much like myself. He is a military leader, and that alone. There are many who say that his leadership is confined to a military structure, that he cares nothing for the hearts, the feelings, the deeper lives of people who are forced to live in this camp to support the military exploits of Paragon. I myself, as I may, I busy myself with the cares of, if it is not too foolish to say, of the heart. People must not only survive and march in this column with no mind of their own, they must care for things. They must have comforts, joys. And these are difficult to find in the times we live in, unfortunately. But I am not in service to this man, Aldrin. Although I respect him as a military leader within certain bounds, but there are, as I say, there are many people, not me, but there are many people who say that his ways are too harsh and will not lead to the long-term success of the camp or even of Paragon. So tell me more about you, Doolin. Tell me about where you have come from and how you came, unfortunately, to meet Aldrin the Grim.
Well, as to before, there's really not much to speak of. You know, I worked odd jobs and I pitter patter around. You know, I don't know. I wish there was more to tell you, but sometimes that's just how life goes. But then I met these people, and although I can't remember everything, because the past couple days have been they've been quite hard to explain. I'm really not sure, but I know that the three people I came in here with, I care about them greatly. And Ilya over here, he is the way he is because of Aldrin the Great and because of his methods. I wasn't aware that it was a crime to walk around the wasteland, but to Aldrin the Great, it is. And what's done is done. There's nothing I can do. I want to see Ilya get the care that he deserves.
And so you were just wandering the wastes. And this is how...
Well, if I told you, I'm not sure if you'd believe me. So, you ever woken up in a magic tower and then it blows up about an hour later? And you got to run away from it?
He smiles. He looks down.
Sounds pretty fucking crazy, huh?
The magic tower. But you escaped? And you did not carry away the fair-haired maiden before you did?
Well, I was looking for one, but couldn't find her.
Tragic.
And like I said, it's hard to believe myself. I keep pinching myself, asking what the hell is going on, and I just can't seem to figure it out. And here I am.
It is quite a bit more complicated than my friend has described.
So, Doolin and this guy, Gathy, both, look over at Ilya when he speaks for the first time. And Gathy takes a couple of quick steps over to your, well, it's not really bedside, it's like pillow side. You're only like a foot off the floor. But he, comes over and he quickly takes a knee. And he holds out, like, at first a hand, and then he just, like, kind of turns the back of his fist forward. And he says, Hello. Please, do not stir. You may call me Gathy.
Gathy. I am Ilya. Can I move my arms? What are my arms like right now?
Yeah, no, I mean, they're definitely, like, twin white-hot rods of pain. But, I mean, you can move them. Particularly, like, your whole arm is fine. Your forearms are pretty stabilized at this point, so anything that would cause that to flex one way or the other would cause a hell of a lot of pain. But you can move the whole things, without really... it hurts, but it's not the real peak pain.
I will not necessarily feign immobility, but I'll kind of play up immobility a bit and just motion down with my eyes. Forgive me if I do not touch knuckles.
Of course. And so he's still like on one knee, but he pivots a little bit, addressing Ilya. He says, I understand that you and your friend have woken in a magic tower. And escaped as it was as it was destroyed. Is this what you said?
Yes, blown up.
Blown up. And that is quite a tale. And where are you bound now? From your magic tower?
Our destination is not something that is clear to us.
Ah, of course. Because I apologize. Because it is not given to you to choose. You have been taken by the Grim. And now your choices are no longer your own.
That is not what I meant. What I meant was we have not decided yet. What
Oh, please.
what Gathy do you consider? What do you consider the plague on the world that we're in today? Why is this group of people constantly needing to move in the column that you say, mindlessly following?
Are you asking me of this camp? Of these people? And what their purpose is? Or do you speak of the world more largely? Of what has befallen us since the cataclysm that darkened the skies and killed all of the trees?
Are your goals different?
Different. I'm sorry, Ilya. I do not understand. I want to answer your question, but are you asking what my goals are?
Yes.
My goal is to be of true service to Paragon. When you go there, as I expect you shall, you may be conveyed there by a small-minded man. A tyrant, some have said. But you will find that it is a bastion. It is a proud place of strength, of light in the darkness.
Ilya raises his arm. A bastion from what?
From 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 small-mindedness, from the darkness and pain that enshrouds our world.
You are forbidden to say the Archon.
No, I am not forbidden, but it is not wise to speak of that creature. Here in this camp and in Paragon, he tries a couple of times, but eventually he gets out. He says, the Archon and the worship of it is strictly forbidden. The penalty for heresy is burning alive. And it is not a quick or a clean death. A pyre is built around you as you are tied to a post.
I am aware what burning alive is, Gathy.
Yes, but the way that Aldrin does it, he will not let anyone be near you. He will not let you have a quick death. You must be fired upon by archers from dozens of yards away, and with flaming arrows until the fire catches, and it will catch but slowly. And then, and only then, as the flames take you, will you perhaps find peace. There is no one here who follows the Archon. There is no one here who follows the false gods, and there is no one here who submits to the playthings of the fairies and the false promises of their lights.
Ilya looks at Doolin with a very serious face and tries to just instinctively start to right himself, but when that kind of starts to happen, he rests back down in his prone state.
I'm gonna walk over while this is happening, and then get my hand back behind him, and then help him sit up.
Yeah.
And then just stare at you for a second, pat you on the shoulder.
Gonna help him get up to a sitting position.
Sitting position, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It is perhaps not a secret that we carry with us knowledge. That is why you're interested, I suspect. But I am glad that you were honest with me when you said that your goal is to get away from the darkness. I had hoped that the darkness would be the Archon, but it is not, it is fear. And I see that you have done everything you can to avoid, destroy that fear. Like disallowing people to walk through the wasteland. You did not say worshipping the Archon, you said heresy from whatever this Paragon has deemed to be heretical. You mentioned that you are concerned with the heart. What does your heart truly tell you about these actions, Kathy?
I can tell that you care deeply about this. And I care not for my own heart. I care only for the comfort and the faith of the people here in the camp, and of the people of Paragon, and the Paragon himself, and how he may best be served.
And what is the priority? Is it the people and their comfort and their faith, or is it the servitude of the Paragon?
They are all one. They are all everyone who comes from the waste bears knowledge. You said that you bore knowledge as well. What?
I do not have the knowledge myself, as my friend Doolin was explaining. Our knowledge has been removed from us.
He seems confused. He looks kind of back and forth between the two of you. And
So when I said we woke up in a magic tower, that's what happened. Our knowledge was taken from us. I don't know how. I don't know what we agreed to. I don't know the process.
And of course, I believe you. And Gathi stands up and he faces Dolan. And I have little understanding of these philosophical matters. And he gestures at Ilya as he says that. So, how is it that I can make myself of service to warm your hearts and to help you on your way, as surely you will be once again very soon in the captivity of Aldrin the Grim, and on your way to Paragon, where surely you will find warmth and hope and justice.
That is it. That is exactly how you are going to have to show us your heart. without knowledge, based on what we can see alone, it is our duty to judge.
So
I'm not
I
understanding.
really just want the safety of the people I came here with. All right. He has almost been. He feel like he's talking unconscious, don't you? It's a little weird. But if there's anything you can do that could heal him up and maybe provide some bit of assurance that we're not going to get our throats cut, which I think would have been done already if that had been wished. So safety and help and healing.
Of course. Of course. Help. And yes, healing. I will speak to my friends, and I have many friends. I will do what I can to help ease your journey. And I would suggest that you not listen to those who would say that Aldrin is simply a tyrant who follows his own power, in contrast to Paragon and in defiance of the right. I would say that to the extent that you may trust him, or rather trust the wisdom of Paragon, that you trust the wisdom of Paragon, insofar as you are able. I will do what I can to help you here while you are in the camp. And I am sorry for your troubles thus far. But thank you.
I appreciate the help, and if I look back at my life and to say I can never be an Aldrin, I think I'd be lying to myself. So, while I might not agree with it, there's a part of me that can understand it.
Well, yes. As I said, attempt to give him grace. But I will trouble you no further. I simply wanted to introduce myself and to speak with you and understand a bit of where you came from. Your other companions, where have they gone?
Well, I don't know. I think we both passed out in here, and they went off and probably looking for answers, or I don't know.
I see. Well, I will return then to the hospitality tent. Hopefully before you are hauled away in chains. And I will try to speak to them. And in the meantime, I will try to find what help and what safety and healing I can for you. Because again, I care only for the people of camp and for the people of Paragon. So thank you for meeting me and for being so open and honest with me. It means a great deal.
Well, I appreciate your honesty, and at this point I'll stand up and go shake his hand.
Yes, thank you, Doolin. And he shakes your hand and he covers it with his other one. He says, and Ilya, please do not pin yourself.
My friend,
yes.
Please be honest with yourself.
Of course. And I wish you a speedy recovery. Thank you to you both. It's that gesture.
Yep.
Backs out of there.
What a douchebag. No, I'm kidding.
I do kind of like that, like, as he came in and he went to do it. He was like, "Hey, I'm your friend. Like, what can I do to help?" And what do you think about things? And Doolin was like, "I don't know, man. We're just trying to figure it out. Like, we're doing our best. Like, and I like that he went over to Ellie. He's like, "Hey, man, how can I help? What do you think about things?" And Ellie was like, "I think I don't like you, Stretch."
I'm like, shut up, stop! Like, I can't do anything. He's like, you better be honest with yourself, or I'll try and kill
Yeah.
you.
Where the fuck you from, dude? Yeah. Ilya and Doolin, you spent some time resting and recovering, as well as your other various activities. Um, Shaw and Deirdre, you have also found some activities out here around the camp. Um, Shaw, are you going to stay where you were? Just doing that work for a little while?
Yep.
Okay. And Deirdre, when you leave the place you were at, what are you doing next?
Try to kind of take a roundabout way back to the where Mal is. Shaw is.
Okay. So yeah, it's not far away, but you can. It gives you a little bit better of an idea of the layout, which is very haphazard of the camp here. There's no kind of military planning of like all of these tents in a row that do these things. So it takes you a little bit of wandering around to get back to the blacksmith's area, but you do before too long. Still dark, still some point in the night, but there's still plenty of activity. And you can see that even just in the hour or so that you've been gone, Shaw has found himself some employment. He is working away, and that dark-haired woman she's not gone, but she seems to have more or less ceded control over the forge to him, although she's watching from a little not attached, but a nearby tent area that's separate from just a very small forge that's literally like about this big, up and down with like a little clay chimney and a spot about like that where you could put something in to get heated up. It's very small, very utilitarian, but Shaw's arranged a couple of buckets in order, and he seems to be gradually understanding the mechanism by which the forge is actually like heated more. It's not a strict bellows, but he's figuring that out and working away to the great consternation of the small group of older men who are watching this happen. So you see him working. He's easy to approach. What do you do?
I'll just I guess go up to see if I can just like. It's pretty loud out here though, right? Like I would have to get pretty close for him to hear me.
So it's loud out in the streets just because of the wind whipping through the
Mhm.
tents, the gusting every couple of seconds. But if you were to step into the forge area and there's
Yeah.
plenty of open space, you could you go over to him. He'd hear
Yeah.
you pretty easily.
I do.
Yeah,
Okay.
when I see Deirdre, I'll get to a stopping point. I'll like acknowledge her, finish the section
Sure.
I'm on, get it to a nice even spot, and wipe my brow collar over. Like
Okay.
take a little sidebar.
Okay.
Hey, I'm going to go back to the tent. You look like you're set here.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I told Aldra there I'd work through the night at least. Listen, she said she'd try and talk to somebody about getting us some supplies for whatever you need for doctoring up Ilya. So hopefully we can get a lead on that. What'd you get yourself into?
I think I found something that could help him.
Well, all right.
So I'm gonna go try that, and I think I need to get some more rest. Hey, remember we haven't made any friends here. Be careful. Don't
Yeah.
let anyone. Yeah.
I hear you. That's what I'm hoping to do. Right here, at least. This is something I understand. People I know how to talk to, and being useful is the best way to make a friend out here.
And I kind of wrings her hands and looks at all the blacksmithing stuff. Okay, well, to each their own.
Bet. Well, good luck. Wish the fellas the best. See y'all in the morning.
Okay. Shaw, you going back to work?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Deirdre, where you headed?
I'll go back to the hospitality tent.
Okay. All right. Shaw, we know what you're doing.
Sure.
You don't mind stepping away. And Dylan, Ilya, you are, well, as we conclude the last bit there, a little bit more time passes. What are you guys doing?
My job is just watch over him, watch the tent, and just I have nothing else going on in my mind, or
Sure.
That's it.
Okay. Well, it's another period of time that's difficult to quantify after that guy leaves, and then the tent flaps barely really stir. It's much less of an entrance than when a couple of people came in, and just the small, nimble form of Deirdre returns to back to the tent. Deirdre, you should be able to move yourself. You come in. Doolin is he's kind of installed himself in that wicker chair and is watching the tent flap, so he sees you right away when you come in. Ilya is pretty much where you left him, on the big pillow there on the floor, and it's only mildly more foul than it was when you left. And he's just out. Yeah, so you come in, just the two of them.
Oh, you came back.
How was
How
it
was
here?
Well, this one over here is probably going insane.
Ilya comes to with the
When people are talking, you kind of
We had a fellow show up here by the name of Gotti. So, he asked us what had happened.
His name is Gothi.
Gothi.
The
Whatever.
the-
It's hard to hear. So, and
Yeah.
well, he asked us for our story, and well, I told him the fucking story.
You did.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the camp knows about it, and he obviously knows about it by now. But good news is that he is going to try and get Ilya here healed up. He says he knows some friends around, and that's what his intent is to do. Other than
Okay.
that, I've been sitting and not trying to eat the rest of my rations.
No,
How
we
is it
want to
out
save
there?
those. Well, Shaw found some work as a blacksmith. I'm curious to know what manner of healing this Gothi might. Did he come looking for
He did.
us?
He
Mm.
came here.
Shaw mentioned that he asked the blacksmith to look into a healing resource.
As far as I can tell, he's good folk. I don't think we have many choices at this point. He did. I know Ilya does not prefer this person, but who does he prefer? So,
It's
It
nice.
is my arms that are broken, not my ears stolen. I can still hear.
am I all right? I didn't think I was that loud.
It's not that I don't prefer him, it is that everything here is wrong. All of the things that they are saying and the things that they do and where they walk and where they're walking from is all wrong. It's not.
Did something seem wrong about Gothi?
That could be true, but what other choice do we have? Sometimes I think we just have to play along for a little bit. I didn't do that. I don't know. It's hard to know what to do sometimes.
That is why we have each other, is it not?
It's true.
Well, my friend, then perhaps you're right. Let us not share our secrets with these people, but maybe they can help us.
Just give them enough of what they want, right? It doesn't have to be the whole truth. It can be parts of the truth.
Like what?
I don't know. I don't know. You talk to people. I'm
I
not here
don't
to
wa-
talk. I'm just here to hit things. And I can't, so I'm trying the best I can to talk with what I have.
Ilya looks at Deirdre. This has been us.
Well, I don't know about you, but I could certainly use some more rest.
No, take rest. I shall keep watch again. Is there anything I can do to help you out?
Not that I can think of, no.
When is Shaw to be back?
I think he might be working through the night, or into the night at least.
To what benefit?
I think for the sake of the healing that Gothi is pursuing.
I do not know if one is the same. Gathi sounded like he was here on behalf of whatever this paragon is that they are speaking of. I think it is perhaps not a place necessarily, but some sort of something I don't. It is. I'm not looking forward to when they take us there. I am thinking. His voice is already low, but like he lowers it even further. He says, I'm thinking perhaps we should try to escape this place. At the very least, these people are not worthy of the knowledge that we carry with us. And that is our goal, is it not?
I think we all need rest.
Is this one of those things, Dolan, that I should take your word on? You see, like the faintest of smiles comes over Ilya's face, like obviously exhausted and mildly delirious.
We can talk about it when you wake up.
You see,
And
like,
I'll walk.
hold on, Dylan. You see, like, something you don't remember, but in the time that you've been conscious to know Ilya, you see like the faintest hint of like familiarity in the look that he gives you, and that like in a split moment, and that combination of exhaustion and pain that he has, you see just a faint look of familiarity in his eyes, and then he just looks over at Deirdre and closes them.
Once I kind of notice that familiarity and see you go out, that's when I'm gonna, as I've done before throughout this whole rest period, is go make sure you're like tucked in, arms are a comfortable position, and like do all the stuff that I need to, that I've been doing for that rest period. So
Yeah.
And then I'll go back, sit down in the chair, and
She has to go gather her thoughts and meditate.
Okay.
Are you doing that in the room?
Time passes.
I just want to make sure I'm wherever
Yeah.
I'm at, wherever you choose to do it, that I'm not like looking at you. I'm focused on. I'm letting you have your space or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
I'm just in the room. It's fine.
Okay.
Or get down on the ground.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. A little bit of time passes.
I'm gonna go to Ilya and get some balm that I have in my bag. Is he awake right now?
No, he's out.
I'll just like sing quietly, hum quietly, so he knows I'm there, and put my hand on his shoulder and put some of this balm on his injuries.
Okay. Make a medicine check. I mean, Doolin, you're tracking this, right? I mean, particularly when she starts moving. I mean, you see her go over. she gets out a like as she goes over to Ilya, she gets a little kind of like dark stone container, just a real small thing, like about as big as a little thing of Carmex. And she walks over, like, Ilya's, he's asleep, kind of fitfully, as he often is. And she kind of threads a needle of going up to him, and as opposed to, like, waking him up, you know, or trying to, like, slip in there and, you know, minister to him while he's asleep. She just, makes some just soft, kind of nonverbal sounds. Just hums generically, and clearly kind of works her presence over into his sort of semi-conscious state. And she actually starts to work like on his forearms. She like just takes like little, you know, fingertips worth of some like really dark brown, kind of sticky, grimy looking stuff, and works it around under the braces that you guys have put on his forearms, that you worked so hard to put on his forearms not so very long ago, onto really like the most sensitive areas of his wounds. You would expect him reasonably to react pretty violently to any pressure on that. But he doesn't. And I'm going to roll this publicly, so I'm not tempted to change it. Ilya, you get 2 of these to work with. So as you rest over the next couple of hours, you do not wake up, so you get the benefit, and hold me to that if I forget, but you get the benefit of like a long-term rest. And then you get 1, okay, 2, and I don't know why these aren't rolling across the screen. Okay. You take 5 points of Constitution back.
Yes. That's amazing. Where'd my marker go?
Yeah, she worked pretty hard to get it, and got some crazy rolls to make that happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. You said 5?
5.
Oh my god.
2 and a 3 over there. But rolling publicly.
That's amazing.
All right, so we'll figure out the nuts and bolts on the rest of that, and do experience and all that sort of thing. But other than that, thanks for playing, guys, and we will see everybody again next time on Not All Who Wander.